When you look at, even in your written comments about the housing, we have such substantive problems, does not manage living accommodations to meet current operational requirements, does not have enough living spaces at the right locations. Buildings are lack basic amenities such as safe drinking water, working toilets, plus they can't plan ahead. I assume that this is due to years of inadequate oversight and inadequate administrative management. So who was in charge?
Well, here, every, I think, head of the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force are taking some accountability for managing all this. But I think what I would point back to is probably the original needs assessment. When it was done in 2019. And that's what they're using right now. So it's starting to get outdated when you think about how long it is. But what was concerning about that original needs assessment is that it was based on outdated information. And this is something that we do see in a few successive reports lately at National Defence. So they were using compensation from 2019, but they were using market data from 2011. The Canadian housing market has significantly changed. And when you think about you need to have places for the military in a community that might already have housing challenges, so you need to work with that community. So I think they should start with at least updating their needs.
I hear exactly what you're saying, and it just makes me feel even more concerned. This has to be on somebody's plate. Somebody has to have responsibility for making sure that these things are done right. In my previous occupation, I knew who was in charge of everything in the unit and who was doing what they were doing, and if they weren't doing it properly, I took measures to make sure that they were doing it properly. It doesn't give me great comfort to hear you say that they're using data from 2011. So who's in charge?
The deputy head of an organization is ultimately accountable for actions or lack thereof of action. So in the military's case, you have the deputy minister, but you also have the chief of defense staff, who should ensure that whomever they've delegated this to is carrying it out. I think here it is a very decentralized world where they let many bases handle things. And then you add in the complexity of having the Canadian Forces Housing Agency mixed in with this. And so you sort of move out accountabilities. But ultimately, that agency as well reports to the deputy head, even though they are somewhat autonomous within national defense. So I think ultimately the questions that the committee could ask would be to the deputy head around how they plan on dealing with this and how they haven't addressed it up until now.